Hi guys, welcome back to ChessTrainer. Today we're talking about tactics, a very important topic in chess games. It's a topic that is sometimes handled very poorly. Today I'll try to explain what tactics are, how to train them, and above all, the steps to follow to train your tactical skills. Let's start right away with the first idea. What's the problem today? The problem today is that we have so many platforms, and most of you probably play on Chess or chess.com. And well, on these platforms, we see the famous tactics section, so we're all encouraged to click on tactics and do tactical puzzles. But actually, this is the least effective way to train your tactics, and now I'll explain why. I'll also introduce you to another platform, which in my opinion is the right one for training tactics. So, what's the problem with doing these exercises on Chess or chess.com? The problem is that many of you have never actually followed a proper tactics training path. So we usually open these exercises without having the basics and try to solve them using our usual way of thinking. Maybe we get a couple of exercises right because they're not particularly complicated, so we manage with our reasoning, but that's not the proper way to approach tactics. In fact, the correct approach is to internalize the right patterns in our minds. How do we do this? By first studying the instructional patterns. From this point of view, there are many resources that explain these instructional patterns to us. I'll give you a suggestion that, in my opinion, is by far the best way to start. I recommend a book to you. The book is written by Roberto Mesa, an international master, the author of Torre Cavallo, and this book is called 101 Exercises. Well, actually a bit more than 1,000 exercises for beginners. In my opinion, this book is a gem, but it's a gem for all chess players and all chess instructors. Because this book is essentially a collection of exercises, each one commented on and explained, covering all, or rather most, of the tactical themes that can come up in a game. So, studying this book, which by the way, doesn't require a huge commitment, we're talking about a book that's fairly small and quite easy to read. Studying this book allows us to learn what the tactical patterns are. So it's very important. Instead of just doing tactics without knowing anything beforehand, let's learn the patterns first. Let me repeat, I'm recommending this resource to you because, in my opinion, it solves the problem 100%. Of course, you might find other resources online, but this is a book that will really solve the issue for you. So the first step is to study all the tactical themes, understand their patterns, and then once we've really grasped these patterns, we can move on to doing exercises on the various platforms. From this point of view, I 100% recommend the Chess Tempo platform. Why do I recommend Chess Tempo and not Chess or chess.com? In my opinion, Chess Tempo has a better system for managing your score. The tactics score isn't something we need for personal vanity, right? I've got 3,000 in tactics. No, that's not the point. The tactics score is meant to indicate to the software what our level is and therefore the difficulty of the tactics that should be presented to us. So from this perspective, software that manages scoring well will offer us exercises that are appropriate for our skill level. From this point of view, Chess Tempo is very precise, and moreover, it offers exercises that, in addition to pure tactics, also require a minimum amount of calculation. So in this way, we are training not only tactics, but also calculation, which means we manage to work on two things at once, and that's not bad at all. One important thing, if you choose to use Chess Tempo, when you do the exercises, Chess Tempo offers you 3 difficulty levels: easy, medium, and hard. Now, a beginner might think, okay, I'm just starting out, so I'll pick easy. No, that difficulty doesn't refer to your playing level, but rather to the difficulty relative to your own rating. What does that mean? Let's say you have a tactics rating of 1,200 points. If you select easy, it will give you exercises rated around 1,100. If you select medium, it will give you exercises rated at 1,200. If you select hard, it will give you exercises rated at 1,300. More or less, of course, but that's the idea. For this reason, we always want to set it to hard, because we want the exercises to be just a bit above our playing level. If we choose the easy ones, we don't learn much. So, I strongly recommend that you select hard when you try these exercises on Success Tempo. On Chess and chess.com, however, there's a mode that I find very interesting called Puzzle Rush or Puzzle Storm. Unfortunately, on chess.com it's a paid feature because you need a subscription, but on Chess it's free. So if you don't have a subscription, I recommend using Chess, which in this regard offers the same thing. So, what exactly is this Puzzle Rush or Puzzle Storm on Chess? It's a series of puzzles that are very, very easy at first but get progressively harder, with the goal being to solve as many exercises as possible in 3 or 5 minutes. So this is a way to challenge ourselves in terms of speed of execution. But be careful, the mistake that many people make is to, since it's paid, let's be honest, Puzzle Rush is fun. We sit there, we want to beat our own record, and Puzzle Rush is much more fun than a regular tactics exercise where you just sit and think. However, guys, we should use this as a sort of cool down, okay? At the end of the more serious tactics, because these are basic tactics that help us get comfortable, kind of like, as they say, training your hand, your speed. So maybe I do 20 minutes of individual tactics where I really have to think, and then for the last 10 minutes, I do 2 puzzle rushes. That should be the idea. Here, I've introduced a concept to you, the concept of timing. Honestly, guys, I strongly advise against doing less than half an hour per session when you want to practice tactics. Don't open the platforms just to do one exercise. Do you know why? Because by doing just one exercise, you haven't even had time to focus. You're not training your mental endurance. In other words, opening the platforms, doing one exercise, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then closing them makes no sense at all. So when you want to do a tactics training session, make sure it's at least 30 minutes long. And now, speaking of tactics, I'll give you one last maxim that was told to me by Oleg Kornev, Grandmaster Oleg Kornev, who said that tactics are a bit like the bicep muscle. Anyone who goes to the gym surely knows this. This muscle is trained very easily, so if you do even just 15 days of proper training, you'll see results. At the same time though, if you stop, you lose this muscle easily. Well, that's tactics. So even if you've never done tactical exercises before, you can catch up and train very quickly. But you have to be consistent. So if you train once a week and then stop for months, you haven't accomplished anything. My advice is to do at least 3 30-minute training sessions per week. Less than that? No, less than that won't help you. Less than that really isn't. It's not really useful. So this is my advice for training your tactics. But let me remind you, if you're a beginner and you're not yet familiar with tactical patterns, before you start solving exercises, go study the tactical patterns. I recommended Messa's book, but of course any other resource is fine as long as you have a good understanding of the patterns. Otherwise, we don't know what to look for. Alright guys, we've reached the end for today as well. If you like the video, if you find these tips helpful, of course subscribe and support the channel. And I'll be waiting for you in the comments because I want to know what your tactical preferences are. So feel free to ask me if you have any questions. I'll reply here in the comments, and that's it. See you in the next videos.